The assignment requires to create some kind of opacity map to create the effect of maybe a tear on the surface. Let me show you the technique that you can use to create this effect. Notice how, let me see if you can see there is a tear on just notice how the shadow shows the transparency on that tear that happens there. And see over here, notice that little edge over there that looks kind of ragged. It tends to look like that. I think my transparency map needed a little bit more refinement because I still see the edges over there. But it was a simple transparency map. It's just this. I just painted black where I want the tear to be, the surface to be torn, and the same with this one here. Okay, I just made that little edge so that you can see how it works. Pure white and pure black means that black will not be seen, and pure white will be the area that will be seen. For the purpose of this example, I am showing you the color map, but if you apply a different color map, what will happen is that it will look different, like maybe a fabric texture, and then that area where it's highlighted black will not show. Okay, so let me show you how I did that. First of all, I had to apply a light to my scene to make sure that I can see the transparency map and everything working. To these, I will most likely add a modifier just to make sure that simple UVW map will work, a planar projection, to make sure that anything that you put there works okay. What I will do next is go to the material editor, and I'm working in compact mode for this exercise so that you can see. This is the material that I apply. I'm going to recreate it with this one here. This one doesn't have anything special applied yet. So first, let's apply to our curtain over here. Okay, let's put material, show material in viewport so that you can see it. And I'm going to map on the diffuse attribute the texture that I just created. So click there, select bitmap, and right there choose the map that you want for the color attribute. Okay, remember that it is not it is this one here that I'm showing you for the purposes that you can see where the transparency is, but you can have, and you should have, a different material applied, and then you can add the transparency. Okay, and now you see the material is applied to that one plane on the back. The next thing right now, if we render it, let's make a quick render, render. You're going to notice that I am not seeing that tear on the back. It's kind of there. Let me push it a little bit back so that you can see the shadow on, or maybe we can just move the light. Let's just move the light so that you can see the shadow right there. So right now let's render it, and let's frame them both. So I'm going to render that so that you can see how that transparency map is still not working over there because we have that sharp edge over there. In my example, I use an OmniLight. With OmniLights, be careful to use ray trace shadows with any light that you do so that you have transparency attributes. And you can click use global settings. So I had to turn the shadows on for that light, otherwise it will not render shadows. You see that way it won't work. So make sure you use global settings and ray trace shadows so that you can see transparency on those shadows when you cast them on the wall, like this. Okay. The next thing I want to do is then now we're going to map. Let's go back to our material editor, and to the attribute, let's go to the first node here on the default. And on the opacity, that's the transparency attribute, click there on the checkbox and just map the same one that we just used, the transparency map. Say open, and immediately you see that there's a little bit difference over there. When you render, now you're seeing how the map is working with showing the transparency of